And they brought the God stuff, and I was over there cringing and just rolling my eyes or shaking in my seat or whatever the hell I was doing to let them know I wasn't pleased. So the meeting ended. I ended up going on the front porch to have a smoke, and this old timer was eyeballing me out of the corner of my eye here. And you know that energy you feel where somebody's about to come over and you're like saying, don't come over here, dude. Don't come. Please, I'm just trying to be here, smoke a cigarette. Leave me alone. I don't want to talk. And I was trying to get off the porch before he came over, and before I knew it, he was in my face, and he's going, hey there, how you doing? And I was like, oh, you son of a bitch. And then I started praying not to punch him. And he was like, I saw you in the meeting there, and I noticed you had a little problem with the higher power stuff. And I'm like, oh, my God, it's none of your business. Why are you talking to me? Oh, newcomers understand that feeling. Why are you talking to me? So I listened to him, and he said, I was the same way. I had a problem, too. And my sponsor gave me a great suggestion. I just want to pass it on if it might be helpful to you. He said, have you let them know how angry you are? And I was like, oh. I didn't want to talk to him, but I also didn't want to be impolite. So I said, well, what are you saying? I don't even understand that. He says, well, what I'm saying is he told me to go home and just have it out with God. I need to dump every anger bit, resentment, and hatred and cursing and all that stuff that I can and get it out in the open and be honest with my higher power. Just be straight up. This is where I'm at. And I said, believe it or not, because of my religious programming, I said, well, isn't that blasphemy? Because I was trying to argue against it, but that's also my religious training. He says, well, no, you've already talked to God lots of times that way in your actions or in your mind. I'm just talking about doing it for real, like really going to him as a man and facing him straight to straight. And I was like, well, I don't get it. And he says, and while you're doing that, you can beat some pillows, you can throw some shit around, break stuff, whatever works for you, but get it out. I'll tell you, it really worked for me. And he basically let it go at that, and then he just disappeared. Those old Eskimos in your path that just happen to show up and give you a little way out. And I was the kind of guy that if you gave me a tool, I would sometimes do it just to prove you wrong. That's kind of how I did sobriety. I'm going to come in here and do these tools just to show you it doesn't work. I'm a very oppositional, defiant kind of drunk. So I went home, and thankfully my roommate was gone. And I went to my bedroom, and I just started talking, and I started saying, what's this bullshit? My dad died, man. You weren't there for me. And then my family got broken up, and you weren't helping us. And my mom was abused, and all this shit's going on in the world, and there's wars, and there's famine, and what the fuck? And I started going on and getting it out and just fucking talking. And I was like throwing shit and hit the pillow just like he told me to do. And all of a sudden this tidal wave of wrath and anger and rage, I was screaming. Probably my neighbors were ready to call the cops, like, what the hell is going on up there? But I was just going with it. It just, once I opened the floodgates, went from a trickle to a flow to a fucking tidal wave really fast. And it didn't take that long. It's not like it went on for a long time. I'd say 5 minutes at the most, maybe. Sure, if you had been sitting there watching it and judging yourself, you'd be like, well, that's embarrassing. Look at this guy. What's he doing? But I just didn't worry about it. I was just doing it, prove it's not going to work, and then leave it at that. And then I didn't do anything else. I just went to bed. In the next 2 weeks, a very strange thing happened, as if suddenly the gates of the floodwaters had been broken, and now the flow was going through my life of being able to talk to this power that I never believed was there. I caught myself a few days later at work. Guy next to me was really getting on my damn nerves, and I actually said to myself, oh, Jesus Christ, please help me not punch this motherfucker. And I went, wait a minute, that sounds like a prayer. That's not like me. I don't pray. What am I doing? I would usually just say, don't let me punch him. I wouldn't say to something specifically.